And welcome to the first episode of the Guy in a Basement podcast, where I, your host, Wagon Meister, will be talking with various friends and other people about whatever topics they want to talk about. And first is my premier guest, my first guest, a friend from my fandom days of the past. Welcome, Matt. Hello, Matt.
Oh, what's going on, my man?
Yeah, hey.
Yeah, man, it kind of threw me for a loop just to hear you start like that, especially when you mentioned we first met back in the fandom days. It's like, whoa.
It has
A
been
lot
a
of
while,
time.
hasn't it, man? It's been
Yeah,
years
man,
at this
a lot
point,
of time has
dude.
passed.
Yeah. So, I mean, like, well, I guess let's start off by just knocking the things down. How are you doing today, man? What's up?
Well, I'm doing great. Today, very easy day off. Don't get enough of those. But how
For
about
sh-
you, bro?
Oh, man, it's good. I mean, for me, I'm just chilling. I'm in my basement. It's nice. The only negative thing is that my feet are cold, even though I'm wearing warm socks, which is like a conundrum, so I'm wearing slippers. Second, there's wind that's going 30 to 40 miles an hour outside my window, and it sounds like a cat is shrieking bloody murder.
Fun. Good thing
Yeah,
the mic isn't picking it up.
that is the beauty of my microphone. It is a godsend. I love me this HyperX, dude. It is great, and I have it just focused on what's going on in front of it, so you don't get to hear that
Nice.
horrible sound that I hear. So, all right. So, first podcast to everyone. So, just some ground rules on what this is going to be. I'm hanging out with friends, and I'm hanging out with people who want to talk to me. And we're going to discuss both topics as well as whatever comes up after. So, Matt, what is the first thing you want to talk about, man?
Well, considering we're on your stream, that's the first thing I'd want to talk about. How you got your start in what you're doing right now, What sparked that interest?
What sparked the interest of streaming? All right, so I first started streaming for two reasons. First is because I've always enjoyed streaming entertainment, and it allows me to play more video games because it's something like it's a part of my schedule. Although I haven't done it in 3 weeks, I'm a bad streamer. But also, when I was in Japan, I was really watching a lot of like animated content and listening to a lot of like voice actors and stuff, and I really wanted to be able to um, get into recording, and I thought streaming would be a great way to start that and build up a presence of vocal strength and kind of a character to play as. But also, it's just it's a fun way to spend time. Uh, Although I do need more people, so people come watch my streams. I'm self-promoting. That's bad, but it's good. And
You got to keep the hype train up.
yeah, exactly. And yeah, and I just fell into it. I basically used what money I had in my salary left over and help from my mom, and basically got a good rig, got good streaming equipment, got some programs, and yeah, it took me about 2 or 3 weeks after coming back to America from Japan that I started streaming, and it's been interesting. It's interesting.
Well, how so? Like, what's the interesting part about it?
What is the interesting part about it? Well, it's interesting because I have fans, like obviously friends, right, who watch my
Yeah.
streams sometimes. But actually, what's interesting to me is that I have a couple fans outside of America. I have a fan who likes my Warcraft streams in the midday when I used to do that. From what's the place? The Balkans. I think he's Serbian. I have a fan from the Caribbean, and he was pretty interesting. And I think the most interesting thing about streaming is the fact that a lot of people don't realize how international it can be, and how it's not just like English-speaking folks, but like non-native English speakers come in to watch this. Maybe they want to learn English and just enjoy a guy talking and watching games. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's definitely something I didn't think about. I thought, you're a majority of anything would be just English
Yeah.
based, mostly America and Canada perhaps.
Yeah, no, I thought that too, but when I got those messages, I was very surprised, and I engaged with those people for like whenever they were watching a good long time. I need to get back to those games too. But yeah, it's been a surprise, and I'm happy about it. I just wish I had some more folks watching, but that's totally cool because at the end of the day, I'm happy that anyone watches. I'm happy to have people talk to me, and it's fun just to share the experience. It's like
Yeah,
a
absolutely.
internet couch co-op. Is the way I see it. Yeah, it's pretty
So regarding
interesting.
your streaming, has there been any, like, as you mentioned World of Warcraft,
Right.
is there anything you find that's better for streaming?
So, like
Or you just enjoy more of a streaming game?
like
Because I
is there
assume, like some of your attention has to be to the game, but you also have to try to pay attention to your chat as well.
right? Well, here's the thing: is that um, it depends on the game. Like I usually do two types of streams. I either stream games via my PC or I use a capture card and I stream games on my Switch, right?
Hmm.
And essentially, it's easier when I'm doing it with the capture card because I can focus on the TV I have right next to my monitor and play my games, but I can also just look to the side with the computer monitor and I'm able to see what's going on in chat. So that's cool. It's a bit more difficult when I'm playing games on the PC itself because it can be wonky and it flashes in and flashes out. There's kind of actually a lot more glitching going on with that. Kind of just like, oh, it's not picking up the game. Oh, it dropped it. Oh, what are you gonna do? That's embarrassing on stream.
Yeah.
But luckily, I'm able to get it to work. And when I stream on PC, basically to follow my chat, I usually have my phone open on my Twitch chat, and then I have my iPad open on my YouTube chat, and I just plug them in to keep them charged, and that's how I keep track of that.
All right. Definitely got to do some workarounds.
Oh,
That's
absolutely,
interesting.
absolutely. It's definitely fun, right? But it's a lot of like, where am I putting this? Where am I putting this? Where's this layer? How am I gonna be able to see this? It's like, whoa, what can you do?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, that's pretty cool though. I didn't, I would have never thought you'd have to,
Hmm.
definitely a lot of extra steps I would have never thought about, Maybe for someone like me who doesn't really do the streaming,
Right.
I just assume it's all right, just turn on the stream, chat's on your sidebar there, and bam, you're ready to roll.
Yeah, it is. It is surprisingly more complex than people think it is. But it's not as complex as like rocket science or something. It's,
Oh yeah.
it's like I'm not like a genius here. I'm just like a schlub who's able to get it done.
Hey, that's what matters most.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, any other questions about streaming, man? Oh,
Well,
wait.
for any of our longtime listeners or any newcomers, what do you plan on streaming next, and when can they expect you next? Let's do that
Okay.
shameless plug right here, right then.
There you go. That's a good thing to ask. Yeah, I'm thinking about um, well, first things first, because this will get us into a good next topic of gaming probably afterwards. But
Cool.
one thing there's two games I'm looking forward to, and they're the re-release of the Scott Pilgrim versus the Universe game. Really excited for that being dropped on the Switch. Thinking about getting a physical copy, and then the
Okay.
new yeah, and then the new Yacht Club game that they made with that other studio. It's I think a new Ninja Gaiden esque game, and have really gotten into those. I really like Metroidvanias over the last year and a half. It's really come into being one of my favorite genres to play.
Yeah, those can be pretty fun. It's just, oh man, sometimes they can be a little. I don't know. For me, at least, they're
Yeah.
a little more like tedious, challenging kind of thing.
Right, right.
It's a lot of backtracking.
Oh no, trust me, man. I totally get that, dude. Um, it can be hard, but I think what's fun is when they add the mechanic in to change how the world is when you can backtrack. Like, I have to say, probably my favorite game I was playing last year absolutely was The Messenger. I thought it was fantastic, and I completed it to full. I got all the well, I finished the main campaign, and I really need to get back to playing the DC and as well as completing the challenges because it's really fun. And I'm really excited for this new
Yeah, you
Ninja
know what?
Gaiden.
I think I heard of that one because I happen to have the Humble Bundle, like
Right,
the
right.
monthly subscription, and I'm pretty
Nice.
sure that was one of the games. And I was looking at it, I'm like, oh, this one seems interesting. But I'm sure you've had it where you just get this huge backlog of games that you're like, okay, I'll eventually get to that one.
That's exactly it, man. There is a massive backlog, and that's another reason I like streaming is because it allows me to play those games that I don't get to. Like, I have The Witcher on my Switch. You know how much time I've put into The Witcher? Take a guess.
Ooh, I don't know. Based on the conversation we're having, maybe less than like 10 hours or so.
Less than 1 hour.
Ooh.
Yeah,
Okay, so
man.
definitely haven't had any time in that one.
Yep, and it's the same. I think I put an hour into like no, not Final Fantasy, but what game? What's the name of the game? Dragon Quest 11. I got that
Oh, okay.
too when I was in Japan. I got the collector's edition in Japanese, and then there wasn't an English translation when I put it on my English Switch. So I also bought a very expensive digital download too. So I literally gave Squeenix, I think $120 worth of money to get the game twice, so I could both have a collector's edition and. I don't know if that was a good
100%.
decision.
Hey man, as long as if you love the franchise, you got to support it. I mean, I myself bought Hotline Miami like 5 different times, and once on a console I don't even own.
Yeah, there you go, man. It's like me, like the Spyro games. I have the remastered version, and I used to have all the PlayStation copies as well. So totally understand rebuying games and just supporting the
Oh
company,
yeah,
even
absolutely.
if it's from a, like a smaller company or whatever. How have you if you don't have it, you
Yeah,
know?
you got to support the brands you love.
Exactly.
Because I mean,
Yeah.
hopefully, now with the support that Spyro's getting again, hopefully we can get another one coming through.
Oh, I do hope so. I mean, they made that new Crash game, so it's like fingers are crossed that they will develop it. But you never know. There's two furries got their hands all over that franchise, man. Not that that's wrong. That's totally fine. And but there's that internet stigma. Will they make another one? Are they going to introduce the fan character everyone eats over?
Yeah, well, I mean, hey, that extra attention could be positive,
Yeah,
hopefully.
you're absolutely right, dude. You're absolutely right. All right, yeah. So there's streaming. Any other questions about streaming?
For now, I think that's set.
All
I think
right.
that's set for now.
Well, we're talking about games, so I think that's a good transition. So,
Yeah, let's go
yeah,
through that.
let's talk about games. So, for you, are there any games you're looking forward to that are coming out this year?
Ooh, man, there's nothing set in stone as of yet. What I
Right.
am very much waiting out for is I've heard rumors that there's going to be another Katana Zero. Um,
Oh.
and I'm hoping
Oh.
that gets something to be announced. Very fun game. This the type of game I love. Because I don't want to say too much about the ending, but it's kind of hinted that there should be more to it.
Right.
But it's one of those ambiguous things where, like, if they really wanted to, they could leave it there.
I totally understand. I mean, I played the game too, and I will refuse to give spoilers because that's a
Yeah.
game that either you watch someone play to completion and you finish that thing, or you play it yourself to completion. It's a great
Hmm.
game. Oh my
Absolutely.
gosh. Yeah, no,
I
a
had a
sequel.
really good time with it. I mean, I enjoyed it so much, I ended up just powering through it in a single sitting. And I'm just like, man, because it was just nonstop. It just enjoyment. I love that kind of game where you just get to throw yourself at a challenge.
That's impressive, man, that you did it in one sitting. I like kind of took my time. I would play like 30 minutes on and off, like just like chilling, because that game is difficult, dude. And the practice and timing and how you're gonna do it, that's the whole thing. Like sometimes it
Yeah.
hurts my brain racking the strategy to how am I gonna kill this guy so get this guy and sneak past this guy, and it's just like whoa, you know?
Yeah, there's a lot of trial and error. I think for me, it's the type of game that I'm most favored to. Like Hotline Miami is the same kind of idea where you're just
Right,
running through an area of enemies and you'll probably die like 15, 20 times before you actually complete the level. But it's just
right.
that, oh, I was so close this time. I just need to maybe throw the item this way first and then hit that guy. Just a lot of that kind of like quick twitch, just
Yeah.
timing and planning.
I totally feel that, man. It's just like it really helps. Could you imagine like a 5-year-old playing that game? I'm not saying they should, but like their reaction times would not be as point on as like me or you having,
Yeah.
like just the training we have of playing video games or whatever. So there you go. I
mean, that's
agree.
actually kind of an interesting little thing to note there, because yeah,
Right.
kids. I actually, my little sister, she's taken
Mm.
an interest in trying to play video games,
Uh huh.
and I tried setting her up with something super easy,
Uh huh.
like Animal Crossing, but it is very surprising to realize that yeah, it's not as intuitive as you think to just pick up video games. Because for me, you start a game and you already have a general idea of, all right, sticks are for movement. You got your A button for jumping or
Yep.
selecting items or things like doing things like that.
Yep.
But she has to like look down at the controller and it's like, wait, where's this button? Things like that.
I totally understand, man. It it's gonna be weird. Like, could you imagine, like, let's say, you're a parent, right, and you grew up playing video games. You saw the breath of the beginning and like this
Mhm.
golden time of these like wonderful hobby, and then now you have kids. It's like, oh man, I'm gonna show them all the classics and like the remasters of whatever. And then imagine if like your kid's like, no, I think I'm just gonna, you know, play Candy Crush. It's like that would be so like I would be devastated if I was a parent and my
Oh
kid
yeah, man, that
like
killed me because it's like, oh come on, it's like, but look how cool this is. This is great. It's like, but Candy Crush is easy to get,
it's just
and
like
just match the colors, and it's like, oh,
yeah, okay. Not exactly. It would just be I'd be like it's kind of like imagine it's like you have like it's like a parent who's like super into sports and you're like the nerdy art kid or whatever and your dad's just like all right. That's how I would feel if like
yeah.
that was the kind of kid I had. Like knock on wood, right? Or I'll knock on a
Mm.
real piece of wood because that was plastic because my table's plastic. But yeah, so we have a
So
hope.
yeah, Katana Zero, and then hopefully after Katana Zero, the other one I'm definitely waiting on. I don't know if you've heard of,
Right.
is Ultra Kill,
Ultra
because that
kill.
one definitely is getting a second part to it.
Uh-huh.
So I can't wait for that.
What is ultra kill about? I mean, it sounds like the game's premise is you kill, but you do it ultra. So explain to me.
So Ultra Kill is the best way I can put it is it's a very kind of like classic Doom feel to it.
Okay.
Just throw in some Devil May Cry. Tons of different weapons, different
Whoa.
style things you could do. Heavy, like you just got to be constantly moving,
Right.
and you're rewarded for switching weapons constantly, doing things in a stylish fashion. They have their own style meter, much
Huh.
like Devil May Cry has.
Hmm.
And it's just fast-paced, non-stop action, and that's the kind of stuff I just absolutely love. And
Dude,
they're
that's
hinting that in the and the final, there's a very big hint that the next character we're getting is going to play very much like Virgil from the Devil May Cry series. So I'm
really
extremely excited for that. Yes.
wow. What studio put this out? Is this an indie game or is this kind of like is
This
this
is
a
an indie
AAA?
game. I believe the studio behind it is New Blood.
Mm. Well, no, I'd definitely check it out. That sounds really good. What's the price range for this game in case anyone wants to get it?
Oh man, this one is actually fairly cheap if I remember correctly. Should be at $20 or below $20 if I remember right.
That's actually like
It's
that sounds like a bargain, man.
it really is.
Cool.
I couldn't recommend the game enough.
Hmm.
The soundtrack's really killer too. Okay, there you go. I just checked it out. $20 right now.
That's yeah, man. You were spot on then. Beautiful.
And there should be a demo if you want to try it out. Risk free. I When the demo came out, I played that thing nonstop.
Nice, nice. I'm gonna see if I can. Yeah, let's do that. I'm gonna open like a separate thing up, like a window to show people. So ultra kill, just so that they can see like the art and stuff.
Yeah,
Make a
yeah, that's all
thing.
right. It's definitely got a retro look to it. In terms of it's like 3D, old school,
Cool.
like almost PS2 kind of graphics to it.
I'm digging like the art style. Like I'm looking at the main picture on Google, like Google Images, and it's like a robot with like 4 thruster wings pointing out, shooting at zombies and stuff. That
Yeah,
is cool, dude. That is awesome.
yeah. And there's a whole lot of different like little smaller mechanics you can start getting into, and that's the sort of stuff I love. Like you start off strong right away, but everything else around you is just as strong and ready to just obliterate you, but you got to be faster.
Totally, totally. That's really cool. Is it only on PC or is it on other platforms?
I believe right now it's on PC. I don't know if it's on anything else. I want to say I heard something about it being on Switch, but I can't confirm that one.
Man, you got to put it in Nintendo there. You got to give them the props because that little machine is it's like a port machine. It's like there was a snap, just like let there be light, snap, let there be games, snap. Here is a portable tablet that uses all games.
Yeah, it's awesome. As a matter of fact, I just picked up Slay the Spire on the Switch because I love that game so much. I need to take it with me everywhere. It's just on the entirely different realm of the games I play. It's a card game, kind of roguelite.
Oh, very cool. Very cool. That's wonderful, man. All right, so you have a sequel to Katana Zero. I'm going to call it Katana 1. Then we have Ultra Kill. Is there anything else you're looking forward to this year? Or maybe in like the next couple months? I suppose that's easier. Year's a long time.
Nothing planned. I've just been I haven't been paying too much attention lately.
Right.
Just been enjoying what I got. How about you? Anything you're looking forward to?
Well, I mean, for me, as I said earlier, I'm looking forward to that. I'll just show you. I'll just show it on the stream. Let's see here. It's Yacht Club. I forget the name of the game. I always forget it. Cyber Shadow. That's what I'm looking forward to. Cyber Shadow. Looking forward to that. There we go. It looks awesome. $14.99 for the Switch and the PS4 and 5, and PC on Steam. And it's going to be on everything. It's going to be on everything. But yeah, I'm looking forward to that. And let's see. I said Scott Pilgrim. What other games am I looking forward to?
You mentioned the one that you were talking about, or the Cyber Shadow. That one's going to be like a Ninja Gaiden type.
Yeah. So what it is it's going to be a fast react Ninja Gaiden type game, from what I see, and probably a little more intense than The Messenger was, which I'm really looking forward to. So I think it's going to be really good. Combination of two companies. I don't know about the second one, who are the main developer, but Yacht Club games, they make good games. I love Shovel Knight, and I loved all the expansions. Did you ever play
I've heard
Shovel
awesome things about Shovel Knight.
Oh man, it was great. I beat that game on full on my Nintendo 3D. Oh, I feel old. Oh man. But yeah, dude, it was good. The second game was great. I played a little bit of I forget what the third one. The Death Knight guy.
Oh, Plague Knight?
No, not Plague Knight. Plague Knight was the second game.
Oh, was it?
One?
Okay.
Yeah. I think it was Shovel Knight, Plague Knight, and then it was, it's the dude with the Reaper dude who hangs out in the graveyard, and then they made King Knight. Yeah. Is it Skeleton Knight? Yeah. Well, that is what Google is for, right?
Oh, that's right.
Shovel Knight, Spectre of Torment. So I'm assuming that his name is Spectre Knight.
Following the naming conventions, yeah.
There we go. Yep, it is Spectre Knight. So there you go. That's it right there. So yeah, it was great, man. I loved that game. But as for
if I'm correct, that one's another Metroidvania type, right? Exactly.
That's kind of the one that took the interest really hard for me and led me into the genre. Because I never played like Symphony of the Night or all that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But I was more interested because it's like, oh, this is an interesting platformer, and that kind of led me into the idea of an RPG-esque platformer with combat, and look where I am now. It's one of my favorite genres of gaming.
Nice. So has that inspired, or kind of given you interest into trying out Symphony of the Night or some of these older ones?
Oh yeah, absolutely. For example, I have so whenever I see a good yes to
that one Uncharted.
Oh, it takes 5 years or so to make a game. Damn you. but what can you do?
Yeah, but hey, hopefully that just means, you know what, they saw something they liked in it, but they wanted to put it into something different or
Yeah,
improve upon the ideas they had. So
that's
I don't mind
exactly it.
waiting for a game when it's going to be great.
I agree. I mean, like, look at you gotta feel sorry for people who play like Cyberpunk 2077. Those people have been waiting for 9 years. That game was in development for 9 years, and
Hmm.
unfortunately, it came out looking like just like imagine if they hadn't made all those glitches, if they had ironed it out by taking their time with it and paying people right. That would have been a great game, from what I
Oh
hear.
yeah, I think definitely easily game of the year had that been the case.
Mm-hmm. No question. No question. But yeah, there you go. I also hear rumors that they might be releasing the second Breath of the Wild, so I'd be excited if that actually is not just rumor, because I really
You know
like that
what? Yeah,
game.
that is another one I'd be interested in. I completely that one dropped off my radar because I know they announced
Right.
it, and I just hadn't seen any follow up to it.
Yeah, exactly. I think they showed a trailer last year or the year before. I don't remember. But it was a while back, so they're probably getting close. Probably getting close to releasing that. Maybe end of the year. Maybe that might be their Christmas sale.
Yeah, I mean usually a ton of games releasing around November.
Yeah,
Oh,
exactly.
another thing, you know what? I had completely forgotten about, but fun
Okay.
little fact, this upcoming November we're getting the 10-year anniversary of Skyrim.
Well, see, there you go. Could you imagine if they like took Skyrim and then just overhauled it to today's graphical style? I mean,
Or just port it to the PS5 and Xbox One.
probably the best thing to do. Or you can just buy it as is on the Switch and take it
Yeah,
wherever
you
you
know
go.
what?
You can be a zombie in real life.
But yeah, I really hope that they announce something, for the
Right.
next Elder Scrolls. It's like, you know what, 10-year anniversary. I think we've waited long enough. We need something new.
There you go. You got to feel it for them. Let's see. I'm trying to think of who puts out Elder Scrolls. It's the same people who do Fallout, right?
Correct, yeah, Bethesda.
Yeah. There you go. I've
Their
never.
track record has not been the best lately, but hey, you
That
know.
is what I hear. I remember seeing the turmoil when Fallout Online came out, but I hear it's a
Oh
lot
yeah,
better
Fallout.
these days.
You know what? I got to play it myself. Right at the first start of the lockdown,
Right.
and I told before that I told myself I'm never playing this, but
Mm,
because everybody else was playing it, and I'm in Discord chat with everyone else playing it, I'm like, you know what? All right, I guess I'll buy in,
right.
and it's okay. I mean, it's not the best thing ever, but it's
Mm.
definitely got its quirks and its fun parts.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And that's cool. I I definitely give it like the old college try. Play it for like maybe like 2 or 3 days, get the feel of it. But if it wasn't for me, I'd stop.
I
But
think
that's
it's
games.
it's definitely a game best played with friends, because
Ah.
otherwise it just feels like a kind of mindless grind kind of game. When
Oh,
you
that
got buddies to just kind of chat it up with and just go
totally,
around doing things.
totally, totally. I completely understand that.
Actually, as a matter of fact, I think you having friends
Excuse
in
me.
that game is almost required from my experience, because doing any of the challenges alone
Right.
tends to be really drawn out, or you just got to be over leveled for it.
I totally understand that. The idea of taking the massively multiplayer online game, it just needs social interaction. You can't like when they make it like solo play and push forward and forward, like it really does bad. Like I look to
Yeah.
World of Warcraft as a great example. I love Blizzard, and I've been playing WoW on and off since 2007, man. And I took a long break because it just kept getting like I'd play for a month, I'm not interested. Play for a month, new expansion, not interested. This expansion's been pretty good, and I actually do have a guild with people I play D&D with on the internet, from my old college friend, and he introduced me to them. Still waiting on that next session, but hey, there you go.
That's the biggest challenge of D&D, man.
Yeah, timing and scheduling. Who would have thought
Oh yeah.
logistics? But yeah, there you
Right.
go, man.
Well, out
Yeah,
of curiosity, that's actually a nice little place to jump into.
all right.
D&D, because that's something I started playing myself not too long ago. Incredibly fun.
All I can think of is that if my next guest is listening to us. He's kind of pissed off because a lot of these topics we're talking about are things we're going to talk about with him. So that's hilarious. Who knows? It might be like, this is the formula we follow for this podcast. These are
Hey,
the
you never know.
topics.
It might be good. But definitely, it's always great. I mean, even with the same topics, you get so many different opinions and thoughts out of so many different people.
That's absolutely it. So, you just started playing D&D. I gotta ask, how are you enjoying it, man?
Oh man, I'm having an absolute blast. I mean, it's been, of course, with D&D scheduling off and on for maybe a year,
Yeah.
maybe a year and a half, but I've really only had like two consistent um session or campaigns.
Yeah.
One of them just kind of abruptly ended when scheduling just became too impossible for everybody.
Right,
And the other
right.
one we've been now a little bit more consistently doing.
Totally understand that. I think like if you can do it like once a month, that's a fair session, especially if you're like doing it for a long time. But it's
I've
hard,
been
man.
very lucky right now where it's been about, well, up until, COVID's kind of put it on a hold a little bit because
Right.
we got one person that got COVID, and then like 2 weeks after we got good again, then another
Right.
person got it. So it's just been, oh, okay.
Yeah,
We
that's.
can't meet up then.
I mean, I understand that, man. It is a precarious time, but at the same time, it allows people to create new versions. I mean, do you guys do Roll 20?
I think one of our friends does that, but we just usually just stick to,
Oh, you
pen and
just stick
paper.
to like doing it in person. I mean, I respect
Yeah.
that though. That's classic. That's like the original pure experience. I love
Yeah,
doing it in
absolutely.
person.
I've tried it once, or we used to do it
Mm.
with the first session I was running. We used to do it
Right.
online like that,
Mm-hmm.
but it was like five of us were in person,
Uh
and
huh.
then we'd have the other person via call because they were in Nevada and we were out here in Cali.
Ah, got it. Got it, man. I mean, there you go. How
With
sorry,
But
go ahead.
oh, okay. All right. Well, I mean, I was gonna ask. So what do
Yeah.
you usually run? Do you have a preferred class to run?
I think the class I usually play the most is a bard, but right
Strong
now,
choice.
yeah, I love bards, man. Literally, if I ask anyone, it's like Nick, like if I ask any of my D&D friends, Nick, well no, I, they're like, you know what you remind me of? You're a bard, man. You're definitely a bard. In real life, you're a bard. And it's like, all right. And then I played. It's like this is the best class for me.
Oh man, yeah, because that was the first thing they told me to play. They're like, "Oh, go ahead, pick Bard. Bard's
Yeah,
great." And I'm like, "All right, cool." Because
bard.
it's just a high charisma class, tons of fun utility spells, tons of good gimmicks you can run, and it's been a great time.
It is
Or it
the jack
was.
of all trades, man. You can do anything with that class, and it's oh, my favorite part isn't even like doing combat or spells or shit. I just enjoy brr, using that charisma and just like talking up
Oh yeah,
everyone. Oh man,
absolutely. That's what we were doing the whole time, pretty much.
nice. I love role play, man. It's my favorite thing in that game.
Oh yeah, it's a really good time. I've played a couple different characters
Hmm.
throughout some of the, we've done a couple one-offs or a
Right.
couple campaigns that just didn't have a chance to really go anywhere.
Totally.
From the original one being the Bard,
Right.
who had a little pet otter, to Luchador,
Really.
and yeah, that one was actually really fun. I had a lot of fun with that. It bothered my DM to no end though because just at the grappler feat,
Right.
and so every time just run up onto whoever was the main enemy, grapple them, they can't go anywhere, and now they're just getting pounded by my entire party.
Right, because they're prone. Oh
Yep.
shoot, man, that's hilarious. I didn't even think. That's a great idea for a class.
Yeah, well, it was just
Oh,
just monk that I kind of spec'd into that
wow.
because the monk has all that extra speed and
That is
dexterity and
that is
good stats,
true.
so it's like it works out great.
That's awesome, man. I gotta be more inventive with my D&D classes like that because that's smart.
I just like gimmicks like you would not believe. The other one that I kind of enjoyed, that was another kind of let me take a class and make it exactly what they're not,
Right.
is I ended up going Warlock,
Uh huh.
um, Pact of the, or I think it's the Hexblade Oath,
Right.
and with Pact of the Blade and running. I asked my DM, it's like, hey man, can I make my pact weapon just like these? Did you ever watch Full Metal Alchemist?
Yes.
Did you do you remember Senator or not Senator General Armstrong with his like
Yes.
punch gauntlets? I just
Yeah,
asked for
yeah.
those.
That,
And
really?
he's like, "Yeah, you could do it. Why not?" And I'm like, "All right, great. You'll regret this." So
Yeah,
the whole gimmick was the invocation with my what's it called? The Eldritch Blast is
right.
just a grasping blast. So I'd punch people in to get close to, or I'd pull them in with my Eldritch Blasts. And then
And
now, all right, now it's just a boxing match with my enhanced packed weapon.
so basically, it's like, get over here, and you would just jab him in the
Exactly.
face. That's hilarious. I love that, man. That's fucking funny.
Yeah, and the final one, the one that I'm currently running now,
Mm,
is a because for some reason we ended up it's like, oh, let's just do a campaign with everybody being a goblin.
right.
I'm like, okay, let me do the most non-goblin thing I could think of, and I just decided I'm gonna be this. I'm gonna be a paladin, and the way it came to be is I just found this helmet in some ancient dwarven ruins, and it's this long forgotten god, and it's like, hey, just put me on, put the helmet on, and I'll help you throughout everything.
That's
And so,
really funny. So you're telling
yeah,
me is you got a goblin that was essentially a colossus with a hammer.
it- yeah, essentially just here,
That's
just get more people to believe in me, and I'll get stronger, and by therefore you will be stronger. It's like, all right, cool.
that is a cool concept, dude. Dude, you're pretty. Oh man, I need to like workshop with you then, just in like a just a private chat. It's like, dude, I have this idea. It's like, what is it? It's like, all right, I have this. Definitely. It's like that's creative. That's very creative, man.
Oh, well, thank you, thank you. I love gimmicks, man. Anything I play, it's got to be as gimmicky as I can make it.
Oh, I hear you. Well, that's. I need to be more gimmicky then. Kind of kick to the. I stick to the straight rolls as much as that doesn't work out.
But
It's whatever.
hey, man, gimmicks only get me so far, so I need people like you in the party that are good at what they do and not just a gimmick that'll work occasionally.
Right, right. All right, yeah, no, there you go. You gotta have some like crazy shit, but also some like just middle of the road stuff too. There you
Hmm.
go. All right. Yeah, very nice. Do you play any other tabletop games? Like ever played Shadowrun or any like
So I actually did one session of Shadowrun,
okay.
and we didn't get too far into it, but
Oh,
if you ever want to play that, I know a guy that unfortunately he doesn't have too much experience running it,
right.
but he's incredible at making settings. He's just
So he's
like,
like a really good world builder.
yeah, he's really good at world building, and he's awesome like thinking up with stuff off the top of his
Mm.
head.
Oh, well, there you go then.
Because I
Oh,
mean, I would love to go back to that Shadowrun campaign. It's
right.
just right now D&D's the hot thing with everybody in the group.
Oh, well, there you go. I mean, once they get like, okay, I want to try this in another setting, that's when you throw the like the D&D. I don't want to call them knockoff games, but D&D light or whatever. Like,
Yeah, yeah, of
yeah,
course. You know the other flavors.
exactly. You got Shadowrun, you got Shadowrun is essentially. I'm pretty sure Cyberpunk is based off of Shadowrun.
As far as I'm aware, yes.
Yeah, so there you go. And all the other stuff, Pathfinder, which is just like D&D with other stuff and different names for the
Hmm.
same shit you're doing and other things. There's so many at this point.
Oh yeah. I mean, I have even wanted to try out Pathfinder because it just seems like there's so many things in there.
Oh,
It's like, oh wow, it's not in 5e.
yeah, dude. Pathfinder's great, man. That's what I've been running with these people, or like ran one time. I'm currently playing a witch.
Hmm.
Yeah, so I get to. Oh wait, no, no, I'm a shaman. So I get to curse
Okay.
people and I work with spirits and stuff. It's really cool. Like,
That does sound pretty cool. I'd
yeah,
love to do
dude.
something like that.
There's
Because
a
5e, you don't really have too many characters or
no,
classes that specialize in debuffs and things like that.
exactly. Hey man, I'll send you a link to the website after we finish this call and or the podcast, I guess, and I'll show you. It's like there are a ton. There are a
Yeah, because I
ton.
even I took a glance into Pathfinder 3.5,
Yeah.
and even the racial features and the bonuses and even negatives that come with some racial classes, it's like wow, there's so many things in here, and then you get like I think the specialization's called what's
Mm.
it called, prestige,
Yes.
and
Yes.
there's just so much depth to it. And I understand why the DM doesn't want to dive into that yet because about half of the party is still new to D&D, so they don't want
Right.
to toss them into something like that just yet. So that I understand.
That would be overkill. You gotta wean it in, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, I started with D&D, and that's a great place to start because it gives you like a good basis to know what you're doing in other games.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah, there you go. All right. So, just a little pause here before we continue.
Go ahead.
We have one viewer right now, and to you, viewer, you are totally allowed to follow in the stream chat, man. You are welcome to talk with us, because once we're done talking about our topics, we're basically just like gabbing away. And if you can think of shit you want us to talk about, by all means. All right, and back to us. Okay.
All right.
All right. So there is a couple more topics we have to talk about before we can just blather on about whatever.
Okay.
Japan, for example. Let's jump into Japan and travel, man. So,
Absolutely.
all right. So, as you know, and to the one person who doesn't know who's watching this video right now, either on Twitch or YouTube, I used to live in Japan, and I've lived in Japan twice, first as a foreign exchange student and as an English teacher. I've traveled over that country a fair amount, and yeah, if you have any questions, I know you're traveling there at the end of the year, hopefully, and what do you want to know, man?
Oh man, it's a tough place to start because there's so many things. Well, actually, my favorite
All right.
is when it comes to at least traveling, is getting to try the food
Oh.
in different places. So,
All right.
is there anywhere you recommend or anything that stood out to you out there?
All right, the best piece of advice I can give you is look for small mom and pop hole in the wall places. If it looks like it's open, give it a shot. If you have some basic Japanese, that's gonna help a hell of a lot. And you will be surprised at like what you find down like kind of like when you're walking down an alley and you turn a corner and it's like boom, there's a small shop that can fit 5 people. That's gonna be some of the best food you can eat, dude. No question.
Oh, I believe it.
Yeah, man. Like hole in the wall little grease spots are the best. Like not to knock on like the big like chains. Yeah, they can be good, but if you really want to experience Japanese food the best way it is, if you want a good curry place, go to an independent curry place over like I recommend going to like an Indian curry place because they have like really good staff on hand and they can get like sweeter curry or that good ass spicy curry.
Oh,
Really,
anything spicy is where I'm at.
there you go. There's a lot of like Nepalese people and like Bangladeshi folks that have moved to Japan for tech jobs, and usually they start by studying a lot, but also they because they're there to like learn, but they also work in curry houses and great.
Oh, sounds good, man. I cannot wait. Yeah, another thing I definitely need to do is
Yeah.
practice up on some Japanese. I started last year, but I got very discouraged when I found out that I would not be able to go. So my language studies have come to a halt, and unfortunately, the only way I really have the ability to learn is through Duolingo, which I guess
Right.
I shouldn't say unfortunate because so far it's been good to help me with French.
Right.
It's just Japanese is very difficult.
Yeah. Listen, man. I've been studying Japanese now for when did I start? 2014 in summer. 2021. This has been 6.5 years of studying Japanese. Serious study of Japanese, maybe for about 5 years. You just got to do it, man. There's a lot of websites that can help you out. I think Duolingo is great for pronunciation and learning some great phrases. And I'll tell you, when they started, it was piss poor for Japanese. Now I look at it, I'm like, holy shit, you basically got the whole language down. They really put a lot of effort into this. So, I would say get back into that.
I have had 2 words that have stuck with me that I feel will be very important when I go there.
What are your 2 words of Japanese?
Hopefully I can pronounce them correctly.
Go for it, man.
Tabi hodai and nami hodai.
Tabe hodai and nomi hodai. All you can eat, all you can drink.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah,
I don't
man.
care too much for the all you can drink part. I personally don't drink, but I do love
Right.
all you can eat.
Well, if you're going out with other people who do like drinking over there, they're going to have a hell of a time, man. Just remember, you're the sober friend, so you're the responsible one.
Oh, I've had years of training thanks to these guys.
There you go. Well, the nice part about Japan is it's a country where there are You could literally be falling asleep drunk on the street during nighttime. Cops won't bother you. Because you can drink in public there, no one gives a shit. It's legal.
No, nice. The
Yeah.
one thing I have heard is no smoking out there, at least in certain
You
public areas, I
gotta you
think.
gotta go to certain areas. It used to be people could smoke anywhere, and I'm not saying this was during my time there, because they've really like kind of dialed it back a lot because of the Olympics and getting kind of like
Yeah.
a positive image. But yeah, it's a drinking paradise. Um, Smokes are they're kind of expensive because of tax, but yeah, they're okay. But yeah, not so many smoking places in public anymore, so that is nice. But I will warn you that a lot of places have smoking and non-smoking sections, and there's nothing dividing them. So it's just like imagine there's like a little wall in between you, and it only goes up to your like your rib cage or something. Some of them are like entirely enclosed, and that's great. Others, not so much.
Hmm. Definitely something I'll have to keep an eye out for. But
Right.
luckily, I've gotten more or less used to the smell of smoke. A good chunk of my friends do smoke, so it's like, it's whatever.
Oh, there you
It's kind
go
of learned
then.
to ignore.
Sounds like you'll be prepared for it.
Yeah.
All right. So Tabe Hodai and Nomi Hodai. Yeah, those are two good words to know. Do you know what they look like with the kanji?
I used to at one point, and now that you brought that question up, I don't anymore. I think I'd be able to kind of piece it together if I see it.
Right.
I just don't know off the top of my head because I have some vague memory of what
Right.
certain characters look like.
Right. Well, then, I mean, all you have to do is look it up later down the road and you'll be fine, man.
Actually, I think I remembered another one that came to mind.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure this one will be wrong, but I think it's karai, which is spicy.
That's actually the perfect pronunciation of it. Yeah, perfect, man.
Nice.
There you go.
There you go. I'll have to learn a little bit more, but definitely small progress, food-related progress always.
There you go. It's kind of very important. Oh, very cool. Yeah, so talking about what to eat, certain words. What else do you want to know about Japan, man? You can pick my brain about this. This might be our largest topic of discussion, to be honest.
Well, so I definitely wanted to hit up some of the arcades. Just I love video games.
Right.
But I actually recently heard that the Sega arcades are closing out there. If
Yep.
not all of them, maybe just a good chunk of them.
Yep. So to let you know, uh, when you go to Japan in Tokyo, what are the places you want to see, if I might ask? I'm assuming if you're saying arcades, you want to probably go to Akihabara.
Yeah, that's on the list.
That is on the list. You can find arcades anywhere, man, but like 3 of their big ones have shut down because of COVID. They just couldn't keep the lights on, dude, because no one can go.
Yeah.
And that's a problem. Let me tell you though, Japanese arcades are awesome. I love those places. I didn't get to go very often because I'd often be like going off just exploring because I like historical and like religious-y stuff over there, like temples and shit. But
That's another thing I wanted to kind of keep an eye out for because I've just heard the scenery out there is gorgeous, and some of the pictures I got to see you take and post on your Instagram, man, I was showing my folks and they're like, wow, it looks really like super just crisp and clean out there. And I'm like, yeah, that's what I was thinking.
I'm really happy to hear you say that. That's not even that's just on my camera phone. My phone's camera, I guess, is the right thing to say. So I'm glad that it came out well. It's something I'm actually interested, like a little bit, is photography. I don't know if I'll ever get a camera, but I like taking nice pictures.
I mean, if you ever get a chance, if you want to upgrade, because I got the Samsung Galaxy 20 Ultra, and the camera on that thing, man, is super nice. Highly recommend it. I think it's like 108 megapixels. And I don't know if that means it's super good or not, but it's super good to me.
I mean, it sounds impressive. There you go. Oh, there you go, man. I might have to look into that. Yeah, so in nature and temples and stuff. Well, I could. You could ask me about that, whatever. Before you do, what places were you planning on going to in Japan?
So, I've done an incredibly poor job of planning.
Okay.
And I was gonna figure everything out as I was going.
Okay.
And I started listening to this other podcast. I don't know if I should be name dropping.
Dude, drop names. It does not matter.
It's called Abroad in Japan.
I love that channel, man. He's a good guy.
Yeah. Well, 'cause there you go. So you're familiar with him. But yeah,
Yeah.
so it seems like he's got a lot of not a lot of nice little topics and cool little places, and he does his own little travel across Japan. And
Yep.
I wanted to kind of look into that and check out what's going on. I mean, I guess another spot that I had in mind was the Kirby Cafe, just because I absolutely love the Kirby franchise.
Oh, for sure, man. I think that's a great idea. Cafes are awesome, and they're always making like new seasonal ones. Like one of the last days I was in Japan last year. It was with you. There you go. 2020's over. We're in 2021. Hooray! I'm sure you saw the Inuyasha Cafe. Wild.
I did hear about that one, and I know that's on someone's list that wants to join me for the next trip.
Yeah. Unfortunately, that one was not a. Well, it might have stayed open until like January, but that would
Oh,
have been
so
in
it's
like.
gone, huh?
Yeah, it's gone at this point. The one in Tokyo is at least. Again, some of these are just like open for like a month or two, so you gotta keep posted on like kind of like wacky whatever the theme is cafes. I do know though that like Pokemon, Kirby, and other ones like they tend to be more permanent.
Yeah.
So yeah, just I'm positive you'll probably get to that Kirby Cafe, but you have to do some research on like anime ones.
Okay, for sure.
Yeah.
Oh, one other thing. I think because of the time that I would be going, it would be too soon for it.
Uh
But
huh.
I believe it's called the Sapporo Snow Festival.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. That happens, I think, in January. So, what time is your trip?
So the original plan is for the 27th of December till about maybe the 10th or maybe mid-January.
Oh, I see. That will be good. Not a lot of people travel in winter, but New Year's is a family holiday, and Japan is basically off for that week. So, you probably not be able to go to like the mom and pop shops until the 4th of January. So,
That should be okay, because
but
then I can actually plan around that and give myself a chance to go visit more of the scenery kind of spots.
oh, dude, hit up all the tourist traps during that time. It'll be great. But there are some places I would tell you to avoid during that time too. I'm gonna look up when the festival is for you. You can ask me about touristy places that I would recommend not visiting too.
Well, do you have any off the top of your head?
I would not go to Meiji Jingu, Meiji Shrine, until after those 3 days of New Year, only because that place gets over like 4 to 5 million people in those 3 days at that time for like the
Oh
New
wow.
Year's thing. I do recommend though what you do is go to a good shrine, put up some things like lesser known shrines that are still popular,
Hmm.
and experience the festival of New Year from like December 31st to dawn of January 1st. People are just drinking until the morning light. They want to see the first sunlight. They want to get their good luck on. They want to get their prayers. It's gorgeous.
Yeah, that's something I'm definitely interested in. Because I just, as far as when I was doing a little bit of research, the main reason I wanted to go in that time frame is because Wrestle Kingdom happens on the 4th every year.
There you go.
But it also happens to be that after the 27th, prices for tickets are really, really cheap. Like when I originally bought mine,
Uh huh.
you were looking at about 480 round trip, which was incredible, I think.
Okay. Interesting. Well, there you go then. I think that's gonna be good. All right. So the Sapporo Snow Festival takes place. I think it takes place in February. So
Ooh,
yeah,
I'll
that's
miss it by a
unfortunate.
month.
Yeah. Hey.
But I might at least get to see, because I believe they start preparing for it pretty early. I don't know if that's
Yeah.
accurate.
Well, I mean, like if you go up to Sapporo, just be prepared. That place is snowy, and I'm talking about super snowy. Bring your layers. Bring your boots. You're gonna be trudging a lot.
Yeah, I figured I'd be having to prepare for a lot of
Snow.
very, very extreme cold climate,
Yeah.
at least for some of it.
Yeah. Uh, it'll depend on the area. Like, so it sounds like you want to go to Tokyo. It sounds like you want to go to Sapporo. Are there any other cities you wanted to visit?
Osaka was definitely in
Osaka's
the
on the
cards.
list. Yeah, well, yeah, Osaka's great. I love Osaka. I think it's my favorite city in Japan. Definitely. The food there is great. The people are nice.
I
And,
was about to ask, yeah, well, what made that one the favorite?
oh, God, just like the food. And it's like, I gotta be honest, it's really kitschy, and I love that shit.
Kitschy?
Oh, so
What's that?
it's. Okay, so there's this like place that is the most stereotypical Japanese place you can think of called Sutenkaku Town. And it's like there's a bunch of bars, there's a lot of local Osaka specialty foods. It's kind of like grimy. It's just like it's like everyone thinks of Japan as like this neat and kind of like you know, like that picture of the big fat puffer fish like made out of
Yes.
paper. That's the place.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So and it's
So I mean I know it's just a video game, but I'm pretty sure I've seen that one in Yakuza because
yep.
there is some time frame where you spend in Osaka.
There you go, man. I'll tell you, man. I was just walking around after having a meal there. And I was shooting the shit with that. It was the original location of
Wait a minute, isn't the pufferfish joint gonna close down? I
the
heard that one was gonna close.
the pufferfish joint did close down, but I
Oh, that's
recommend. Yeah, but they still have the thing up because I think
yeah.
someone like preserved it. What I recommend is this thing called kuchikatsu. So it's fried stuff on a stick that you dip into various sauces, and it's delicious. And I got into the original place that was open in 19 like 20 something. The original location. I was just shooting the shit with the guy who made it, and it was great just talking in Japanese because you don't get to speak a lot of Japanese when you're an English teacher.
Mm.
Hmm.
Yeah, I didn't even think about that. But I mean,
Yeah.
to a certain degree, that's got to be good, right? I mean,
Yeah.
I don't know how comfortable you feel with Japanese. I figure after 5 years, pretty good,
I mean,
but must be nice.
I get my point across. I can understand conversations. Like at this stage in the game, I can think in Japanese. It's pretty in there. That's
That's
why I'm
good.
kind of trying to commit to another language now, and I'm learning Norwegian of all things. And I know that's weird to say.
Interesting.
Yeah,
I
but
mean, hey, it's all right. I mean, I jumped from French to starting Japanese, and then out of nowhere, I just got this random interest to, hey, why don't I just learn Dutch?
oh, see, there you go. Dutch seems interesting to me too, but I've actually been thinking if like things worked out for me, I might move to the Netherlands. That would be a really cool country to live in. You
Yeah.
know? Yeah. But that's another conversation entirely. We're talking about Japan.
Yeah, Japan. Japan's the one today.
Yeah. So yeah, no, I recommend going there. It's delicious. You'll get to see all the, and then when you walk out of the main area, you'll get to see all the porn, the porn, the porn theaters and like some of the risque red light district stuff. It's hilarious.
Yeah, I forgot about that. That's kind of a thing out there, isn't it?
Oh yeah, man. Let me tell you, prostitution is alive and well in that place, and you know what they call it? The Soapland.
I've heard of that actually.
Yeah.
Again, from Yakuza. Yakuza. I
That
mean, I don't
game,
think it's the best place to learn about Japan, but I mean, I feel like I've seen a couple things that are interesting. It's like, oh wow, okay.
it'll teach you kind of the underbelly culture, which is actually kind of really interesting to learn about, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, have I ever gone to one? No. Have I seen them around? Yes. Do I know where they are? Yes.
Yeah, well, I mean, because don't they usually have the guys kind of like trying to like, hey man, come on over this way, trying to give you the business cards or whatever.
Well, I mean, yeah, but those are more for like, that's like the club stuff, where they're
Oh,
like,
okay.
they kind of like a big tough guy leads you over in like Shinjuku, you know? I'm sure you know, it's that big street. It's like big second street. It's kind of got the sign that like curves out, and there's like a lot of neon lights and bars and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, watch out for that because you don't want to go in there. You'll end up spending like $800, $900 just buying like 2 or 3 drinks.
So I've heard. I
Yeah,
think that was actually mentioned in one of the Brought in Japans.
yeah,
It's like, yeah, you got to be careful out there.
yep. Listen, man, he's spot on with that. You got to be careful. You just got to be like no and ignore them and walk on. I mean, they'll be like, "Hey, you seem interested. Come on in." And it's just like, no, 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 no.
It's like I got
Just
somewhere to
walk
be
along.
again.
Yeah, that's my recommendation for that. You know.
Definitely keep that in mind then.
Yeah. Yeah, so there's that.
Now here's kind of a curveball one.
Right.
What is television like out there? Like TV shows. I don't know if you ever really sat down and watched some TV out there, but
Yeah, every
I
once in
mean,
a
is it
while.
really as wild and wacky as they say, like commercials and all that?
Well, I mean, like, I feel like the main part of that is like this, like the main form of Japanese entertainment on TV is this thing called like the variety show, and it's like they have like panels of celebrities that like comment on stuff or do wacky things for the audience, and so on. And those are on pretty often, but I mean, it's not all the time. But yeah, I'll be honest, Japanese TV is pretty fucking bonkers. It's a pretty spot on description of it. So,
Is it anything that you actually enjoyed? It's like, you know what, I kind of want to get home and catch this show.
not really.
No.
No, more so I'm just like using a VPN to watch streaming services.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah. And there you go. I mean, like, I'll tell you, I think when I was in Osaka the first time, and it was New Year's last year, that vacation. Ah, dude, I got sick, and I just like, it was like rough, but I was like pushing through it.
Mhm.
And I literally spent half of that trip, if I wasn't feeling too good, in bed on my phone watching The Mandalorian.
I've heard great things about it. I still need to catch that.
Well, let me tell you, it is very good. That's all I can say because I don't want to spoil anything for you, and you deserve to watch it.
Very understandable. Definitely something that's on the docket to watch next.
Yeah.
Just lately, I have not been watching any TV series. I think the last one that I was really like keeping up with was The Boys.
Oh, dude, that's great too. I've been digging. I like. That's a good series.
It really has been.
Yeah. Where do they go from here, though? You know. Well, I'm excited to see what
I
they do
can't
next
wait to
season.
see. Can't wait to see.
Yeah. All right. Yeah. Very nice. Um. So Osaka, Tokyo, and Sapporo. Nice.
So diving back into Osaka real quick,
Yeah.
I think the main like street food out there is being the takoyaki. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that one right.
You got it, takoyaki, man. Yeah, takoyaki's good. I've never had takoyaki I didn't like.
Oh, okay, that's strong. That's real strong.
It's a strong statement, I know. Even if it's shitty takoyaki, takoyaki's delicious.
Now let me ask you this, because I
Yeah.
haven't had octopus in over, I want to say 13 years, because I remember having it as a kid and not being a fan.
Right. Is it good?
Yeah, I don't know
Is that
how
what-
to exactly phrase it, but I mean,
Like,
is it better in takoyaki form
well,
or?
let me tell you, man. It's like they cut a little tiny piece of the squid. It's like smaller than a piece
Oh,
of
it's squid. I
calamari.
thought it was octopus.
Sorry, my bad, man. It is octopus. Like,
Oh, okay, okay.
What I'm saying when I said squid, I'm talking calamari is squid. But you know how
Oh, okay.
calamari, there's like it's kind of like a little bit long, like it's not too
Mhm.
long. Imagine if it's an even smaller cut of that tentacle, and then what they do is they fry it in the middle of a dough ball in a special little grill, and then they cover it with not only this delicious sauce, and my mouth's watering right now because I'm remembering the flavor, and
That's
they
actually
also
good.
and it also cover it with that good ass Japanese mayonnaise, and then kind of like these fish flakes. But it is delicious, and even if it's shitty takoyaki, I like takoyaki.
Yeah, I definitely want to try that. I mean, I'm already envisioning it a little bit because I just figure, I'm most active at night. So if I'm ever going to grab a snack like that, it'd definitely be kind of nighttime,
For
or
sure.
at least when it's getting a little darker. So especially being there in the winter and that just takoyaki just, fresh and warm right off that little takoyaki grill thing they got.
Yep.
Oh, man.
Yeah, I recommend.
I can't wait already.
There you go, man. I also recommend getting okonomiyaki. That's like one of the main dishes there as well. You know, like the Japanese healthy pancake, and they cover it with
Okay,
this.
yeah, is that the one with like the white and black kind of sauce?
Yep, that is literally it's the same stuff they put on the takoyaki, dude.
Okay.
Yeah, except it's okonomiyaki sauce instead of
Okonomiyaki.
takoyaki sauce. But they cover it with the same mayonnaise. Yeah, it's great. I will warn you though, if you're a night guy, it's a little hard because a lot of places, like close. Well, not bars per se, but the train lines. They close down at like 12:30. So
Mm,
your
definitely keeping out for that.
your best option there is taking a taxi, and that will cost you. And Uber there is only Uber Black, so again, that'll cost you.
Hmm.
And Uber, I think, is only
Okay.
in Tokyo. So just a
Well,
warning.
I mean,
So
it's a good thing to know right now, to plan ahead.
time management over there, especially if you're partying. I mean, you said you don't drink, so that'll make it a lot easier. The problem is
Yeah.
like, hey, come on, it's time to go. Stop drinking, pay the tab, let's get out of here. That's the hard part.
Yeah, it can be tough, but you just learn how to handle it.
Yeah, worst comes to worst, just go to a 24-hour like family restaurant, something like Denny's, or like an Italian place, or you'll find them all over. And just hunker down there until 4:30 at the first train, and then you can go back to your hotel.
Actually, kind of mentioning some of the American chains like
Right.
Denny's. Someone who used to go out there or used to spend a lot of time out there, he'd mentioned to me, it's like, all right, it's gonna sound weird, but you definitely got to try some of the American fast food chains out there.
Mm.
Apparently, KFC and McDonald's and even 7-Eleven
Yeah,
out there are better.
yeah. 7-Eleven is far and away. I have eaten so much food from 7-Eleven when I was living there. I kind of lived off of eating off 7-Eleven food and bentos just because I didn't have a kitchen in my apartment because it was so small. But uh, yeah, 7-Eleven's great, dude. Any of the what are the convenience stores, the combini, they are awesome. McDonald's is great. I have to be honest with you. I don't know about Denny's. KFC's all right.
I mean, I know what to expect with Denny's, so I don't really think I could be disappointed going there.
Right.
Because Denny's to me has always been the joint you go to when everything else is done,
There you
when it's
go.
closed.
No, you're absolutely on the money with that too, dude. It's a great place to kick it until you can get back on the train. Uh, I'm so it's so many memories flowing back, dude. It's wild. But yeah, you got to give it a shot, man. I would
Oh,
say,
most definitely.
yeah, give it a shot because those places are definitely going to be open during the New Year. Those chain restaurants, I'm sure. So
Oh yeah.
that'll be your good over that period. And then when all the mom and pop places open back up again, get on top of that.
Yeah. Oh, most definitely. I'm gonna be hitting them up like you wouldn't believe. Um,
You're doing a
I'm a bottomless pit of food, man.
yeah, you do a bar crawl but with food.
Yeah, absolutely. I gotta do that.
Yeah, food
Um,
crawl.
oh shoot, I forgot what I was gonna ask. Oh,
Yeah,
so a lot of the places and all the things, the foods that interest me,
yeah.
definitely, like your beef bowls, things like ramen, the
Right,
curry,
right.
takoyaki. Um, but are there any good desserts? Like, what are the sweets? Because I do like some sweets.
Any candies or ice cream?
What was that?
Any candies or ice cream that you pick up from the convenience store are awesome, and they
Oh,
usually
okay.
have new seasonal versions too, and they are delicious. I do
Speaking
recommend.
of those seasonal versions, apparently
Yeah.
they got a lot of different like Kit Kat and chocolate flavors out there.
Oh, they do, man, and it's wild the sheer amount of it. And what's funny is you can buy these massive boxes that as souvenirs to take back home, and you'll see them at a lot of the like the departure areas of like near airports and stuff, or in the airport themselves. And it's funny, man, because it's like these massive boxes with like 20 packs of different variety flavors. So yeah, get some Kit Kats, dude. Try them out.
Definitely have
Uh,
to try to bring some of those back.
yeah, food's
And you
great to bring
mentioned
back.
something a little interesting there. One thing that I kind of learned in my last, because I've only recently started the interest in traveling,
Right.
is airports, airport food.
Oh,
How
okay.
how is the airport food out there?
How is airport food? Well, it's not Sabaros, I'll tell you that. It's a little bit better. A lot of places they either have chains, Japanese chains, I'll add, or they have independent places owned and operated there. Right now, because of COVID, a lot of them are shut down.
I can only imagine, yeah.
Yeah, but other than that, listen, when I was waiting for, my last flight back, when I flew into Atlanta and then transferred to go to Colorado, uh, dude, it was great. Like the food was good. I had some tea. I had some matcha ice cream or something.
Oh man,
It was
matcha's
good.
my absolute favorite. Like matcha, anything.
Oh,
You know, the strength of
you can get a lot of
candies.
matcha stuff and matcha pastries and stuff out there. I'm sure you'll love. I mean, I drink a bowl of matcha. Like I take the actual like the stone bowl you see like in the tea ceremony and like the bamboo whisk. I like do a little drop and then I whisk it for like a minute and it's all frothy, kind of little like mine's like I think a little lower quality than the last one I got. That was good, but I like it when it's a little bitter and a little sweet because then it's like yeah, this is definitely tea.
Yeah, I like the sound of that. Well, that's a good question. Do you have any recommendations? Because I would love to get a matcha set for myself. I love matcha.
Well, I mean, my best recommendation to you for that, just buy like a matcha set. I would say on like Amazon, unless you're planning on going to like an area where they do ceramics and they make that stuff by hand. Then get on top of that, man. Because like my bowl, I bought it at like a local like at the mall where I worked, where my school was, because they're often in like busy places of traffic for foot.
Mm,
They every like couple of weeks or every like week they would take like a week and a half to 2 weeks of these like promotional regional sales from like different parts of Japan. It could be food one week. It could be like books and prints like ukiyo-e. I actually got a couple of ukiyo-e prints in my closet that I have yet to hang up because I just don't have the spending money to buy some frames at the moment. But I'm
hmm.
planning on doing that. And other stuff. One of them you can get is like local ceramic ware, like utensils and stuff, chopsticks where they can engrave it or other things. Highly recommend. If you're gonna get that in Japan, get something like that. Maybe get
All right,
yourself.
definitely. I'll keep an eye out for that.
Yeah, but you got to be careful because they are fragile. So you're gonna want to wrap it in like paper, or wrap it in like clothing or something to keep it from
Yeah, I'll probably
breaking.
do that.
Yeah,
Just keep it bundled up.
yeah. If you get a teapot, I recommend putting like something inside of it while also wrapping it up in multiple ways too, just to keep it safe.
Okay. Well,
Um,
thank you for the tip. It's a good
yeah.
idea.
As for matcha, there are so many things, but if you can, I would recommend going to like a tea ceremony or something. Booking something like that, or and there are companies that do that for a modest price and getting the whole experience, and it's great. High quality matcha is not bitter at all. It is so frothy and sweet, and it goes down smooth. Oh man, I love that stuff. And usually I make like tea afterwards too, just chill tea. Like today I've had some jasmine tea, and that was really good.
Man, you know what? That's we align a lot on that because matcha and jasmine, that's my
Yeah,
go-to.
there you go. You know, uh, if you go to Japan a second time, I recommend stopping by Okinawa. Okinawa is like the place, it is the place to get jasmine tea in Japan. And from what I hear, it's really good. I haven't been down there personally, but I hear good things.
Okay.
Yeah,
Hopefully I can fit it in if I can go this time. If not, I mean, I would absolutely love to do a second trip.
there you
Um,
go. Listen, man, I think what's going to happen is, and this isn't just stating COVID. Oh, COVID's scary. Listen, you're going to get vaccinated probably by like March or April. Same with me because we're around the same age, I think.
mhm.
Every like couple of weeks they're like lowering the things, right? Like the age requirements
Yeah.
or job requirement stuff. So, oh my God, dude, once that happens, the borders are going to open up for travel to Japan, I think. It's just like you got to be vaccinated, you know? Maybe like you
Yeah.
show keep your receipt for that vaccination.
Just
Because,
to be safe.
yeah, because Japan is super serious about that. I like, I'll tell you, when something personal happened, I'm not going to say it here, and I had to go back to America around like late February, and then I came back in early March. I literally made it back the day before they closed borders to the entire world.
Yeah, I saw, or well, yeah, I got to see some of that, and I was just like, I was checking in on the website every so often. It's like, all right, are they open up again? Are they open up again? And
Right.
it's like I was starting to realize, okay, it's not looking like it's gonna happen this year.
Yeah, but I mean, with not happening this year, I think there's a strong possibility you might get around to the end of this year and maybe even the beginning of next year. So I think you bought your ticket for the right time, dude.
Yeah.
No question. Yeah, so let's see what we were talking about tea. Um,
Yes.
if you want to buy like loose leaf tea, you're gold. That's gonna be great. I recommend if you go to Osaka, do take a trip up to a place called Uji. That's where they grow some of the best tea in Japan. It's the first place they were planting it, and it has the longest history and the best tea, in my opinion.
Okay. Wow,
Yeah,
strong. Okay. Definitely
uh,
something to check out.
yeah.
Oji?
I'll show you here. If you watch the stream at some point, you can see here Uji. It's just south of Kyoto, the main city. It's it's where the tale of Genji takes place, if you know that, and anyone who's a nerd about Japanese culture. It's also where Kyoto Animation was stationed.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and it's a great place. Although in winter it'll probably be cold and snowy, but
That's
not as bad as the north.
that makes the tea even better.
There you go. You get to enjoy it a bit more. Yeah. Just never go there in summer. Kyoto is hell in summer. Imagine
Oh yeah,
going
yeah.
imagine going to a place where it's 100% humidity and it's like 105 degrees, which is well if you know centigrade, kind of reaching into like the high 30s, even in the low 40s. I think I lost 20 pounds walking around from just sweating my ass off in the summer there on my last vacation before I finished my term at my job.
See, that's the one thing I've always thought I don't think I want to go in summer
Yeah.
because I've heard the humidity is just brutal out there.
Yes. It.
And I went to Miami last year in the beginning of the year, in January, and the humidity
Right.
was already killing me then. So I can't even imagine peak summer in Japan.
Peak summer in Japan is horrible. Japan is a horrible place for its weather. I mean, you can appreciate like the different phases of the weather, but I feel like that's kind. This is just my opinion, but I feel like that's just the Japanese way of saying, why did my ancestors settle in this fucking horrible place? Oh, let's appreciate what's happening around us, so we don't, we don't go fucking mad.
Yeah, I've heard it just really goes into the extremes for their
Right.
weather.
I think the best time to go to Japan is late October to early December, so you can see the falling leaves, which are gorgeous. It's like similar in a sense to the cherry blossoms, but the cherry blossoms kind of only come like one week in a year, and it's kind of a little too many people are into it. But like seeing the falling leaves in autumn is gorgeous. The weather is perfect. You can wear like a t-shirt and like jeans and like shoes without needing like a bunch of layers. It's starting to get cooler. There's not as high humidity. It's like the perfect time.
I'll
But
definitely
like
keep that in mind for round two, because I already just from this conversation, I feel like as much as I would, even if I start planning now, I don't think
yeah.
I'll be able to hit everything I want to hit in one run.
Well, there you go. I it's like it's impossible to get it in the first run, man. You hit what you hit, and I'm surprised, to be honest, by your plans. It's like having Sapporo instead of like Kyoto. That shocked me a little, because it's like if you and you listen to Abroad in Japan, he's got this idea of the golden route and the diamond route. Golden route
Hmm.
being a couple days in Tokyo, a couple days in Osaka and Kyoto, go back to Tokyo, go back home. And then he's got that diamond route of going up to Tohoku, where he lives, which I hear is gorgeous. And I'd rather live in a colder part of Japan than a hotter part of Japan.
Yeah. Oh, of course.
The most,
Well, I guess for me, just I prefer colder weather.
yeah, I definitely think I would like, exactly right. You can always put on more layers. You can't take off more layers than you need, right?
Hmm.
You can only get so nude until you're arrested.
And even then, the humidity doesn't care.
Exactly. You look like I don't know. I don't want to say. It's a little too vivid. But there you go. So yeah, hopefully the next time you go, I'm sure by 2022 you'll be able to get to Japan extremely easy.
Oh yeah.
And if you go in August, not August, don't go in August. That would be horrible. Autumn, fall. Oh, you'll love it. Oh, there's that wind that's horrifying. I don't know if you can hear
I
it.
I did get a chance to hear it a little bit. I was wondering what's going on.
And that sounds loud with both of my headphones in right now. That's how wild that's how strong this wind is out here. But let's focus back on what we're talking about. So we
Yeah.
talked about travel. We talked about food. We talked about um, gaming places and traveling places. Anything else you want to know about Japan?
I think one last thing to kind of, or two last things to wrap
Two
it up.
last things.
I know I talk about food a lot, but I mean, I love food.
Yeah, don't worry,
um,
man. I hear you. I'm getting hungry myself right now just talking about
I know I same thing.
it.
So there's this joint I really enjoy out here called Gyokaku. It's apparently a chain out there.
hmm
But is there anything you'd be able to recommend? Because apparently I've heard some people tell me, or one person specifically that told me that when they went out there, it's like it's just a chain. It's not even that great. There's far better places.
Well,
Is
that's
there
a.
anywhere that you could think of?
What type of food is it?
Oh, it's like just Japanese barbecue.
Japanese barbecue. Um, I mean, Japanese barbecue is basically just Korean barbecue, but with
Yeah.
like different meats. Dude, just go to a mom. Again, that goes back to a mom and pop shop. Chains are great, although I would recommend a good place I found, and it was somewhere where I was hanging out with some college mates and some of my workmates, who were both in Japan at the time and were free that day.
Hmm.
Uh, and it's this place in Shibuya. If you go past a lot of the things, it starts to become like um, past the pachinko parlors, past all the stores and stuff. If you walk a certain way, there's this pork barbecue place that was really good. And it's funny because they sit you on little like bucket seats, and you all sit around like in a circle table instead of like a big square one.
Hmm.
Very, very good. I'll see if I can send you, like, if I can find it right here. Okay, so pork, uh, Japanese barbecue, Shibuya. Let's see here. Come on, you can do it. I believe in you, friend. You can do this. I'm like waiting for it to like load so I can tell
No,
you
no
like the
worries,
name
no
of the
worries.
place. All right, all right. Let's see here. I might as well just, and it's.
Well, in the meantime, oh, go ahead.
I was just gonna say it is tabe hodai, so it's all you can eat. So that should be good.
That's what matters most.
There you go. Ah, Gyukaku. Yeah, there you go. Let's see. Where's the scramble? Should be a sky deck. Let's see. I'm like trying to like purse it out where it could. Okay, now I got my bearing. I got my bearing. I know where I can find it.
All right.
All right. All right. If you look, let's scramble here. This thing. Yeah, I'll tell you about it later, man. Oh,
Oh,
is that it? No. Yeah, I'll tell you about it later, man. I'll let you know.
no problem, no problem.
Yeah.
Well, the other question, the one I wanted to kind of close it out with, is how does it feel out there? Because as far as I'm aware, I don't know if there's much truth to it, but there's a kind of, I don't know, people feel a little odd about foreigners out there.
The more countryside you get, the more looks you're gonna get. They really don't care. They'll be confused, but they'll accept it. If you speak
Mm,
Japanese, they'll give no shits. Like
all
they'll be
right.
like, "Oh, okay, he knows the language. I don't have to worry." But if you're in Tokyo or any of the big cities, no one's gonna care if you're a foreigner. No one's gonna feel weird if you're a foreigner.
Mm-hmm.
They'll be fine. It's the safest country to travel in the world, dude. Uh,
Sounds good to me.
yeah.
I was just
Just
kind of curious because I wonder, I've
mm,
always heard like, well, they're either surprised or like this is like so it's odd to them to see a foreigner because I got a friend that's going to be traveling with me and man he's huge, so I feel like he's going to stick out like a sore thumb, and the
when
good
you
news, it'll
say
be easy to track him down.
when you say huge, how big is this guy?
um
Is
I'd
he
say
like
definitely mid six. and then just big.
Well, he's going to have some heads turning just because he's tall then, but
Okay.
he's going to have to be careful smacking his head into things, like into the bathroom or whatever. But other than that, people just be like oddly confused and then continue on their way.
Okay, for sure, for sure.
Yeah. So that's about it. All right. So, okay. What do you want to move on to next? We can talk about music, and we can talk about poetry. Also, I just want to do a shout out to my subscriber, Kara Zafloof. Hello, Kara. I saw your comment. Hope you're doing well. All right. So, music or poetry? What do you want to What do you want to talk about?
Um, hmm. I think poetry, because for
Hmm.
some reason I feel like I noticed your poetry after Japan. I
Right.
don't know if those two are linked or not.
They have nothing to do with each other.
Okay. So, well, let's start off with it anyway. How did you get into poetry? Well, where did that stem from?
When I was a kid, I used to read a lot of that Shel Silverstein. You know, do you remember those books, right? Where they poems with pictures that are kind of like really weird.
I have a vague memory of it.
You have a vague memory of it. Well, I will show the chat, or I will show
Check it
like
out.
the stream. Let's see here. I'm just gonna go to the Google search. Shel Silverstein, and there we go. And let's just go to images. Kind of things like where the sidewalk ends, or a light in the attic where it's like a guy's face, but then there's a house coming out of the top of his head. Kind of that kind of surreal stuff. And I just like reading poetry, you know? I've always thought it was interesting to read about.
Ah, okay. Because I just looked it up real quick, and yes, I do remember these now.
Yeah, exactly. And poetry is just, you know, I have a hard time writing stories. I like writing. I think it's very creative. The problem with writing though is like I tend to start stuff and then I don't continue. I have very bad follow through, and that's me on a lot of things.
Hmm.
But poetry can be as short as you want it to be. Look at a haiku. It's like 5 syllables, 7 syllables, 5 syllables. Limericks follow a certain like pattern of rhyming. I've done music around it, and just writing kind of like beautiful. When I went over to UC Santa Barbara, I bought a big, massive, fat tome of one of the beat poets. I'm trying to think of his name. Let me just look it up here. Allen Ginsberg and Jack Kerouac. I like loved those guys. Kind of just simple, down to earth, like language. I just think poetry is interesting. It's fun, and there's a long history and culture to it that people, today. When you think of poetry, what do you think of?
Oh, so when I think of poetry, I mostly think of just the rhyming poetry. But the
Right,
other side of it is how I find it interesting, in which a lot of times to me the rap genre
right.
feels very closely related to the poetry. So I've
Yeah,
always found it's like, oh, did that come from did rap come from poetry, or poetry how it influences other things.
I definitely think that makes sense to think of it like that. I mean, rap has existed in the black community of America, I think, since the 1960s, but it didn't become popular with the majority of people until the 80s. But yeah, I definitely think there's this idea of rhyming and meter to a beat that's so interesting. But poetry is just like it's a long history, man. It used to be considered very masculine to be a poet. Like you were a man's man if you could be like that creative to come up with poetry. You could tell stories with it. Like the Odyssey and the Iliad, those are poems. Those aren't stories. So those are things you would say in a beat over like a bunch of nights, and it's a big part of culture around the world. And poetry is just
Hmm.
like something not a lot of people think about, especially these days, because you got acting and streaming, you got cartoons, and I'm not knocking any of the things I'm going to list right now besides those. You got video games, you got everything, but I don't know. There's just something simple and fun, and and you can really tap into your emotions and let them out without like being aggressive with poetry. Like
Hmm.
I was really kind of like sad on New Year's, for example. I wrote a poem, I posted it, and I felt a hell of a lot better afterwards. So I think it's a great way to like let your emotions out as well, and just expressing it.
Well, would you mind sharing one of your poems right here on the podcast and perhaps for the chat?
Sure. There's actually one that I wrote a while back that I never actually got around to. Let's see. So this is a poem I thought of while watching Game of Thrones for the third time in a row. Fantasy's allure. Life's call is strong to those which search, yet of the more mild, bookishness takes root within. What causes we found ourselves drawn to the imaginary realms of the past? One cannot rightly forget reality, yet however, despite its distractions, fantasy's lure is quite appealing. I tend to do like free rhymes, free poetry, less rhymed stuff. Sometimes I do rhymes,
Yeah.
but like that's just something that came to my head when I was just watching a show. And it's as simple as just like getting a pen and a notepad or a pencil and a notebook and just writing it down, man. And it's being creative. And
Yeah, that's the other thing I found about poetry that's interesting to me because it can be very freeform. Like, I know there's the set kind of the set rule ones, much like the haikus or the rhyming.
Yep.
But you can definitely have a lot of freeform stuff. So it's been interesting to me how many forms poetry can take. And I think that's one of the things that I found interesting about it.
It really, I think poetry is one of the most artistic ways you can use like written language. And it can be funny, it can be emotional, it can be inspiring. There's so many things it can take from, and that's what's cool about poetry. And I just like write, it's like, and it's easy. For me, I'm one of those people that can come up with an idea really quick and then lose it and not continue on with it, and it's gone. So when I think of a poem, I'm immediately like, where's my notebook? There's my poetry notebook. I write it down, and then I look at a picture of what inspired me, and that's what I do when I post those on Instagram, and then those go to Facebook and Twitter.
Yeah, I got to see some of them, a few of them on Instagram, but I'm mostly on Facebook, so that's where I've seen the ones you posted.
Yeah, exactly. Kind of wish I had started this hobby of mine a bit earlier, because I've always been good at it. And it's actually, my mom was always telling me, it's like, Nick, you're pretty good at poetry. You should become like a singer-songwriter. You have the musical talent. You know how to like build chords and stuff in songs, and you can write. And she's right. I mean, if you know how to play an instrument and you're a poet, you can make it's a good way to express yourself.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, it's definitely never too late. If anything, you can incorporate that into your streams.
That is true, and I certainly have a lot of time because I don't really want to get I'm very financially stable, being where I am, and I don't really need to do like a full-time job at the moment. So the last couple of months have been about creativity.
Yeah, that's good. It's good to take some time to really just get a chance to do what you want to do in the creative sense.
Exactly, and that's the beauty of what I'm doing now. Any other questions about poetry?
Well, actually, I would like to, now that you kind of mentioned your mom asking if that's something you'd want to incorporate into music.
Yeah.
Is there anywhere you've had a chance to share your poetry, or other than the social media? Maybe I've heard that there's like little tea shops that'll do poetry nights or anything like that.
I'd love to do slam poetry nights, man. I would love to, and just like reading it out in front of people. The only problem is that where I live, half the people like don't care about wearing masks and stuff inside. Like, I'll tell you, man, I have seen like people at Walmart like go in, put on a mask to walk inside, and then immediately just take it off and put it on their wrist, of all things, among others. To me, these are rat lickers. These are people that would, in the plague times, take a rat covered with these fleas and be like, you know what, plague doesn't scare me. And then they would die. And that's how I see these people. And I'm very, very listen, a lot of them are very nice. I'm just saying they have this ideology and they're very, very stupid about what's going on.
Mm-hmm.
There's a pandemic happening, and a 2% kill rate is too damn high for me to want to do that. That's 1 in 50 people dying of the thing. So I am not interested. I am not interested in doing any of this stuff until everything gets taken care of. We got our vaccines in order. Everyone's good. And hashtag fuck anti-vaxxers. But
I mean, hey, better safe than sorry.
yeah,
Um,
but I'd
but I
love
mean,
to. I
yeah,
just don't
if
know yet. I
go
just
ahead.
don't know. Sorry.
No, you're good. I was just gonna say it's like I got a chance to see some poetry once live, and I think that's
Mm,
what sparked my interest as soon as you mentioned that that's something that you do, or as soon as I
yeah.
saw you were doing that, because poetry, unfortunately, in my younger days, is never something that really caught my eye. It's like, okay, that's pretty
Right.
neat,
Right.
but I didn't see too much past it. But once I got to see it live and I got to see someone performing their piece, and you really get to see what they're feeling behind it,
Uh huh.
that's like, man, that at the moment, all I can think is like, that's strong. Yeah,
There you
it
go.
just kind of left me with a little bit of a loss for words, I guess.
Hey man, that's literally what it's for. It's to make you feel things. It's expression, and it's beautiful. And I honestly hope it makes a comeback into like popular culture. I mean, obviously, it exists kind of on the fringe, as you said, like coffee house. Like I think those are called like slam poetry nights. Like people are
Hmm.
coming down, laying it down, and it's fun, man. You should, if you're interested in it. What's the harm of? Everyone's got to start somewhere, right? And
Yeah.
yeah, work is what makes you better. Practice is what makes you better, and poetry is definitely one of those things too.
I mean, I wouldn't be opposed to giving it a shot. It's just unfortunately, like I'm just when it comes to stringing words together like that, I'm just not that good at it.
Right, right. Well, then, man, I suggest doing what I do. I mean, if you can think of rhymes, that's great. That's great. That's like classical French and English poetry. If you can't, I recommend just doing like free form American style, just talking about from your heart poetry. And I fall between the two. I kind of want to learn how to do like that old school, like the Greek and like the Viking style story poetry, but that's a lot of practice in the future.
Yeah, yeah, but that's definitely a cool one. The very kind of the narrative style poetry, I guess you would call it.
Absolutely. And I'll tell you, there's a reason why a lot of cultures around the world have done that for centuries. It's very effective.
Yeah, I mean, the other part of it is, especially back in the day, when everybody wasn't able to read and stories weren't able to be taken down. What I'm no expert, so I'm not 100% sure, but
Right.
as far as I'm aware, isn't it more of like a way to pass down stories?
It is
It's
an
like,
oral history. You are absolutely right. And this has been done since ancient times. The Greeks did it, the Romans did it, all the Europeans, I'm sure people in Africa and in the various parts of America. The Japanese are doing like they're like one of the two. There are two very very famous classical Japanese texts, and there's the Tale of Genji, which is the world's first novel,
hmm
written by a woman in the year 1000, so it's 1,000 years old. And then there is a poem about a civil war of the samurai. It was the beginning of the samurai, the two main clans. Who would control the emperor and thus control the government, and that's kind of what led the samurai into existence. And yeah, dude, poetry. It's wild how vast it covers topics. So that is pretty cool.
yeah,
Yeah.
most definitely. And you mentioned that's something that's a little more difficult in terms of the narratives. Is that something
Right.
you've tried your hand at, or something that's like, yeah, it's not really my thing so much?
Yeah, I wouldn't say I've given it a shot yet. I just don't know enough. Like, I want to learn how to write it itself, because it takes a certain structure if you're writing in a certain way. And I'm just waiting on that. I'm trying to learn more about that. Just like maybe buy a book here or there when I save up a little bit of money, or I read a free text about, oh, here's how you would do it if you wanted to. So I'm just taking my time with it. Right now, I'm just going on
Yeah,
like the free form poetry or the rhyming poetry, and that's good for now. It's
yeah,
baby
that's
steps.
very good.
So yeah, no, but I do think it takes some skill.
Yeah, I mean, well, shoot, it's something I don't see myself being able to do.
Hey man, never say never. I'm sure you could if
Yeah,
you worked at it and you learned and you gave it your shot.
yeah. I guess I suppose the one thing holding me back is just that unsatisfaction of I'm sure you know you yourself being a creative type, you have a better understanding of it. But
Uh,
you create something and you're just not 100% satisfied. You're like, man, I really wish I can evoke something better here, but you know, it's
yeah,
just
I understand that completely. I totally feel that feeling a lot of the time. And that is a feeling, that is an ugly feeling, man. Because that is
yeah,
going to hold you back. My best thing is push past that little voice in your head that's like, nah, this isn't good enough. And just like create, create, create. Create, create, create. And then you can like edit that shit down. That's what you got to do. It's like Star Wars. It's like making a movie, right? Think of it like directors are like the dudes of the movie industry, and they're constantly filming and filming and filming, and they have hours and hours of film. And then the editors are the ones like, all right, I will sit down and I will go over hours and hours and hours of content, editing it all together to make it look wonderful. And there you go.
yeah,
It's the same
that's
with that.
actually a really good way to look at it.
Yeah, I that's actually I stole that idea from I think it was a comedian. They're basically it's like yeah, directors are like I think it was I was watching a documentary about Star Wars. It's like yeah, George just shot film after film after film, like he's like jerking off into the nether, and then it's like oh fuck I'm done filming. Oh shit. Oh fuck it's done. And then it's like, all right, I'll clean up, honey. I'll actually make this into a real thing that people will enjoy. So, there you go. It's like the male and female aspects of creation in in something other than sex.
Yeah, no, definitely another way to look at it.
Yeah, I think it's a fun analogy.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, there you go. So, any other questions about poetry? Any other things you want to talk about on the topic?
Hmm. I think for there, I think I'm set. I just don't
Okay.
have as much knowledge on it to really know what other things I could ask. Is there anything you'd like to mention for somebody who you think would should give poetry a try?
Listen. If you want to start writing poetry, the best time to start is right now. Just if you have a good idea for something funny, interesting, or something you feel like is, like touched you in like an emotional way, just write down a couple of words, and it might not sound great. But we all start somewhere. Listen. We all start at the bottom of the hill. Just get started on it, and you're gonna get better every time you do it. That's
There you go.
There you go. You can use that advice for anything, really.
Yeah, yeah, that's good advice, just in general.
Yeah. All right, so let's get to our last topic before we just do like chill talking or we end the stream or whatever we're gonna do. So music. Music. I remember you
In
wanted to talk
very,
about
very
music.
good place, or very awesome topic.
Yeah.
Um, well, let's start off with you. What would you say is your preferred music, or do you have anything that you're listening to now that's really got your attention?
Uh, I have been listening to a lot of that bardcore stuff on YouTube recently. Do you know what that is?
Oh, I was about to ask, well, what is bardcore?
Bardcore is a style of music that actually just came out last year. And what it is they take like popular songs and they remix them not to like, electronic stuff, like you would think like remixes like in the 2010s.
Hmm.
But what they do is they take these songs and they put them into kind of an old English or kind of like an older style of speaking, kind of like in a poetry sense. And they also add like minstrel instruments to it too from like 500, 600, 700 years ago. It's I love it just every now and then. It's hilarious and it's awesome.
Oh, okay.
I mean, it's very
Actually,
different.
I think I did see one of those, but I don't know if it was what the name of it was. But I think I saw like someone had done like maybe Imagine Dragons, but it had like all this like old medieval looking artwork behind it.
You got it. That's exact. That would probably be a bardcore cover. That's you got it, man.
Like,
Yeah, dude. There's a lot of really good artists I enjoy. I like uh, shoot, I'm trying to think of the names, but it's fun. You can listen to it every once in a while, and it's a kick. I've also been listening to a lot of wow, what's the name of the genre? City pop. That kind of like 1980s Japanese jazz and funk
oh
mixed
yeah,
together. That's great too. I love
Oh, I love
that.
that sort of stuff.
Yeah. I just like that's what I listen to on Spotify when I'm like I'm just gonna sit down and listen to music and read, and that's the kind of stuff I do with that, and it's fun. Uh,
Yeah, the city pop's really nice. I enjoyed that one, especially. I love to go for drives. Cruise down the city or Pacific Coast Highway or whatever it may be. And city
Absolutely.
pop's great for that. Sunny day, cool breeze.
Yeah, kind of just like kind of the windows down, enjoying it. Absolutely.
Hmm.
Uh, Makes me jealous of that California weather. I wish I was back in it.
Hey, well, next time you're around, we'll go for a cruise.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. Yeah. Well, so both of us like city pop. What about you? What are you into recently for music?
Recently, I've been dipping into more rock, metal,
Nice.
power metal, prog kind of stuff. Because I was
Nice.
very into the electronic music scene for a long time, and now
Mm.
I'm dipping into something else.
Oh, that's cool, man. I mean, I get that feel. What kind of bands are you listening to? Because it sounds like you're going into the heavier type of rock. So you said power
Um,
metal, so
so I haven't been dipping into specific bands as much as far as just specific songs here and there.
right.
One song that I can't even begin to imagine how many times I heard
Mm.
throughout the year was "Take Control" by Old Gods of Asgard.
That's a great name for a band. I love
It
it.
really is, really is.
Oh man, you listen to that Viking metal. Oh, dude, I want to listen to that stuff. I need to get on top of that.
So you'd be surprised because with a name like that, I really thought it was going to be some sort of Viking metal, but it was super like super different. I'm not even sure
Right.
what to call it 100%, just because I'm still barely dipping into this kind of genre.
Right.
But I'll send you a link so you can listen to it a little bit later.
Oh, dude, I'd
But it's
appreciate
really
that.
good if that's something that interests you.
Yeah, I'll send you a link for the bardcore stuff too, man. Because
Please do.
yeah, there's
And
a
actually, you know what? I want to touch on that bardcore thing real quick.
yeah, sure.
Have you tried incorporating some of that into or that and your poetry into D&D? Because I know you play as a bard.
Well, if I do play another bard, that would be really fun. I never. It's weird. You think that would come to mind, but it never happened. So, I think when I get back and like things open up again and everyone's vaccinated and there's like physical player face to face playing, oh, I'd totally do that, man. Like Pumped Up Kicks. There's a cover of Pumped Up Kicks where he actually sings the song, but in old English, or well, in oldish English, kind of like you can still
I think
understand
I
it.
I think I saw that one as well. Because doesn't he use arrows instead of outrun my bullet?
Yeah, outrun my bow.
Yeah, that's what it
Faster
was.
than my arrow. Yep, that is the line.
Yes, okay, so I did see that one.
Yeah, dude, that guy's one of my favorites. And now what he's doing is translating. He's translating songs in like that would be themed around like different cultures, and translating them into old versions. Like he makes old classical Latin songs, but he makes like old French songs like there is a house in New Orleans. It's called the Rising Sun. And he sings it in Old French, and it's hilarious and really cool because
That
this guy's
sounds
putting
really neat.
time
I
in.
want to check that one out because that's actually a song I really enjoy.
Oh, dude, I'll send you the link to the song. It's great. Another one is he translated uh, the Immigrant Song by I think like Metallica or AC/DC, like a hard metal song, and he translated it into Old Norse.
Oh
Oh,
wow.
yeah, dude. The guy's a savant. I gotta check out his channel.
Yeah, most definitely. Shoot me
Yeah.
that link and I'll definitely be checking that out
All
next
right.
chance I get.
Yeah, I'll show the people on the stream what I am talking about, but I'll definitely send you the link after. Let's see. Yeah, Hildegard von Blingen is good. Yeah, the Miracle Aligner. There you go. It's great. All right. I'm gonna just open the link here. I'm gonna pause it, and then I'm gonna save it so that I can just send it to you right now through Discord. Yeah, man, it's awesome. Yeah. What else, man? What else are you interested in? Oh, perfect.
So I've been really, and this is something that's been kind of stuck with me for a good while,
Yeah.
but it's soundtracks from either movies, games, or shows.
Oh, what a great topic. I'm down. Let's talk about this. I love OSTs, dude.
All right, well, let's start off with this. Try to shoot me your top five from whatever it may be.
Okay.
If you need to break the top five mold, that's fine. We're not here to clickbait top five songs
Right,
and
right,
video
right,
games
right,
or something.
right. Anything by Ramin Djawadi, the guy who did the Game of Thrones music and a bunch of other good movies. Well, he did Game of Thrones the show. He does Westworld. He did Pacific Rim. Anything by him is fantastic as like a soundtrack. Uh, I love me some chiptune soundtracks too. I love that stuff. Kind of gives an electronic sort of thing. Anamanaguchi is great. So I'm trying to think of others. Yeah, I like Wes Anderson movie soundtracks. If you've ever seen like Isle of Dogs, um,
That's one that's been on my list.
oh yeah, dude, it's great.
Is I don't know, something about the trailers caught my
Right.
attention so much. It's just I missed a chance to watch it in theaters, and
Mm.
I was like, man, I was really disappointed by that because I really wanted to see it there.
That
But it seemed so, I don't know how quite to explain it.
right,
The best possible way to be dry and slow.
right. Yeah, his films' feelings are absolutely that's the best way to describe them. They're dry and they're slow, but the humor is like really quirky and different. And I love that about
Yeah,
his like cinematography. Like he does these still shots. He uses like little models and he like expands them out or goes them in and then switches to live action. He's a really good. I like his cinematography too.
because I absolutely, I don't know, I must have some like, I have a hard time focusing down on something, but I'm
Ah,
usually very fast paced, constant movement, constant action, constant something.
right,
But his
right.
are very like, slow moving, and but it's interesting enough just like that for me to kind of keep my interest going.
I totally get you, man. And that I think that's a good set of phrases. That's a good. Those are two good terms together to describe how his movies feel, and it's different, which is why I like them.
Yeah, because I think I got to see. I'm pretty sure he did the Fantastic Mr. Fox,
Yep, that he did.
and
That
I
was his.
absolutely love that one. Something
Yeah,
about it's just charming.
for sure. I then strongly recommend that you hop on to watch Isle of Dogs. Then I think you'll really like it. Uh, when I saw it in theaters, it was so surreal. I had just gotten back from Japan the first time at the end of 2017, going into 2018. Right, this movie comes out, and my mind is fresh with having this strong knowledge of Japanese. Oh my god, it was so weird because I could understand all the conversation. I didn't even need the subtitles to like know what was going on with them, and I was like, I was even criticizing in my head. It's like that's not how I would translate this. That's not the right way to translate that. And it was fun, but it was a
That's
great movie.
that's always kind of fun when you do know the language and you're like, wait, that doesn't actually mean that. Why would they write this like that?
Yeah, but that's like the semantics of translation, and that shit's difficult.
Yeah, because I mean, it's like, well, what is the best way to phrase that word that doesn't exactly have a direct meaning in this language?
Exactly. So you got to kind of think of like a phrase or like a kind of like a concept that's similar enough, but it's not the exact thing, and that's where it's hard.
Yeah.
But there you go. Yeah, so there you go. Those two so far. Three on Anamanaguchi. Any like movies by Edgar Wright? The guy who did Scott Pilgrim and the
Hmm.
Cornetto trilogy. I think any soundtrack he does is really good. Kind of balance between like some good instrumental stuff or some like passion project. Like the Scott Pilgrim soundtrack is probably one of my favorite soundtracks of all time because it's a lot of original music made because it's a movie about a guy who's in a band fighting
Yeah.
for a girlfriend, and oh, it's great. Makes me miss having an iPod that I could carry around and listen to that stuff instead of having to hop on Spotify. Yeah.
It's the movie Scott Pilgrim to date, I think, is one of the more visually like unique kind of movies. I was a big fan of all the visual effects they had in that, the old school kind of retro gaming look to the enemies and
Mm,
the little coins and everything.
there you go. That's exactly it. It just feels good. It was a good. I like the books. The movie's great. That's just a good series. That was a good thing that was made. So that was cool. And
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of one more that I really really like. Um, I can't really think of anything else at the moment. How about you? What are some soundtracks that you really enjoy?
Oh man, so the one that's the most recent soundtrack that's just
Mm,
absolutely got a hold of me is the soundtrack for the movie Tenet.
Tenet.
It was a Christopher
Ooh.
Nolan movie that came out last year. I was very fortunate to get a chance to see it before the shutdown happened.
Okay. It's got
Um,
it's got let's see, it's got a pretty nice cast. Nice. I'd watch this.
oh, I 100% recommend it.
Mm,
The soundtrack is a little hard to explain.
okay.
When I first listened to the movie, I thought it was done by shoot, now I'm blanking on his name. The guy who did the soundtrack for now I'm blanking on that one too.
Well,
Interstellar.
uh,
I forget his name, but the soundtrack is absolutely amazing here because this movie happens to do the thing that I love, in which there's very little time wasted in between moments of action or
mm,
suspense that is something that's happening. It's very little time, just like, all right, this is what we're gonna do, and then just go right into it.
right.
Not too much time spent, just wasted. But the
Nice.
soundtrack is always giving you, almost always, I guess I should say, almost
Mm,
always giving you this sense of like urgency and tension, and
mm,
it's always building up to something. And even when it's done or it reaches that climax, it's
right.
just building up to the next thing.
I understand, man. I think that's what it's like. It's like tonal music or musical cues, kind of like the music starts to pick up to give you this feeling when you enter the scene, and it's like really appropriate.
hmm
Yeah, there you
I'll
go.
send you the link to that one just in case you ever want to check it out. I
For
highly
sure.
recommend watching the movie,
Yeah.
but man, this is that. In
I.
another side of things, the both the Killer Instinct and the Doom soundtracks,
Uh.
both mostly done by Mick Gordon,
Mm-hmm.
have just been absolutely incredible to me. They're just constant in your face, just high energy pounding guitar riffs, drums, and just makes you
Huh.
feel powerful, just strong.
Huh. Interesting. I have to check that out then too, because that sounds. I'm always looking for new like music like that to listen to, and I'm
Yeah, if
not.
you ever
Yeah.
just want that energy, want that in your face almost aggression, it's
Right.
awesome. And then kind of to cap off on the not so high strung stuff, the
Right.
Persona 5 soundtrack has been
Mm.
absolutely, I've been in love with that one.
It's so funny. I'm listening to you talk, and I've already thought of three more composers that I would just love. Uh, as we've been talking, like I totally get it. Persona has like a great soundtrack.
Oh
Um,
yeah.
you know, uh, the guy who does the Shovel Knight music, I like can listen to one song from that and it pumps me up. I could listen to it over and over, and I could work out for hours.
Which
Um,
one?
it's the one from it's the level in the castle. I couldn't tell you it right now, but I'm like I can send you the link to it later. And it's really like whenever I would listen to it on my iPod, I'd always be like start like working out or like doing push-ups or like squats or something. Uh,
Okay.
and then anything by Hans Zimmer or Danny Elfman, I like too.
Hans Zimmer was the one. That's the guy.
Yeah, Hans Zimmer's he's a genius.
Oh yeah, he's absolutely incredible. I originally I had that small feeling that Hans Zimmer was the one behind the Tenet soundtrack. It
Right,
ended up being someone else, but after listening to the whole soundtrack, I could definitely see it's not Hans Zimmer's style.
right.
It's similar, but this guy just, I don't know, man. Something about the way he put together music, I was constantly feeling like, whoa, what's coming up? What's coming up?
I totally get it, man. That's awesome. I'll like I'll have to watch the movie and then listen to the soundtrack in and of itself, like later on then. So anything else? Any other things coming to
Um,
mind?
well, just because I'm a big fan of pro wrestling. Again, pro wrestling themes have
Mm,
been in my playlist getting tossed around in there. And it's very interesting because it's cool to see that you have to have a song that within the first 5 seconds has to be recognizable, has
mm,
to be like creating this what we'd call the pop, like just
yeah,
that immediate energy spike in everybody. of course, catchy. But
Right.
it's interesting to see where your first five have to be the most important seconds of the song, really.
For sure. I totally get that. Like it's got to be like, oh, we got to get pumped up for our guy coming out so we can like cheer and like cheer him on and how it's going. That's cool, dude.
Yeah. The best example I think would definitely be one that most people know. Of course, there are two, I guess.
Uh-huh.
Stone Cold Steve Austin and John
Right.
Cena. You know, when you hear that trumpet, you know it's John Cena. That.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Everyone's got their theme going on. Everyone's got their own like special. Up, that's him.
Yep.
That's really
So
sick, man.
when you hear that music, you know they're coming out, and it creates excitement in the crowd.
For sure, for sure. Dang, that's so cool, man. That's great. Ah, nice. Well,
Yeah. Trying to think of anything else that comes to mind. I guess I've been getting introduced to more traditional, like, or I guess maybe I shouldn't say traditional, but more well-known or popular musicians, thanks
right.
to this new boss I have at work who is
Hmm.
like just introducing me to all these sorts of musicians that I never really listened to back in the day, but now it's like, wow, this is really good, and I don't know why I haven't been listening to it before.
I completely understand. I'll say when I was in high school, I was like a musical snob, and I feel really bad for it now because there's a lot of stuff if I hadn't turned my nose up from it, I could have probably really enjoyed a lot of the songs that were popular back in the day. I was like, this isn't that bad. I'll listen to other stuff by them too, and it's like, damn, I should have never been like a musical snobby elite guy. I feel really bad
I
about
mean,
it.
I was there too, so I definitely get you.
I feel
I
like when you're
was
like in
I
your
was in the
teen,
mindset of it's like this is too mainstream. Why would I listen to this?
that's exactly it. Totally understand that feeling. But I look back on that version of myself and it's like, dude, don't be. You were such a dick back then about that kind of stuff. I'm glad you didn't talk a lot about it.
Yeah, me too. I think my boss put it the same way, in which it's there's only two kinds of music, good and bad.
Yeah,
It's like, yeah.
very true. Very true. Very true. Well, all right. So I think we covered all our topics. Is there anything you want to just like talk about, or we're reaching 2 hours now? So I don't know if you're tired or hungry or anything, but I mean I'm down to talk a little bit more. I'm
I'm
just
down to
whatever.
talk a little bit more, but I will not lie. All that talk about the food in Japan, man. Oh,
Yeah,
just
man.
it's got me itching.
Totally, dude. I feel like I need to go up and make something to eat. Well, we can always talk more about other stuff later. So that's the beauty of this.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. I mean, is there anything else you'd like to kind of touch on?
Um, I don't know. I maybe I'll just. I'm pretty good right now. I'm kind of. It's like I'm a little burnt. I don't know. I'm a little like, well, this is good. This is new, but I'm also getting kind of tired.
No, that's okay. I mean, I think we've actually reached a pretty good stopping point. If you'd like to stop here, and if we ever need to, we can always do a part two some other day.
Yeah, exactly. You're always welcome on if you ever want to talk about something that like interests you or you want to talk about whatever. Just hit me. It's like, hey Nick, I want to do a podcast. I was like, okay, when do you want to do it? That's
Yeah, we'll
basically my
figure it out from
schedule.
there.
Yeah.
All right, well
Well,
let's just close off with a couple last things. Where
yeah.
can people catch this podcast if they're listening to this on your stream?
Well, people can catch this podcast right now anytime on YouTube. Once it is finished streaming, it will be under all of my YouTube videos, and it will be under the name of the Guy in a Basement Podcast. Um, you can also watch it live on YouTube as it is being filmed and streamed it, as well as on my Discord, Wagon Meister, and my YouTube channel is Wagon Meister as well. So there you go.
All right. Well, thank you very much for having me on, Mr. Wagonmeister.
Thank you. Thank you for coming on, Matt. I really appreciate it. Thank you for being my first guest on this new adventure of entertainment I'm doing.
Not a problem. Well, looks like I'll be catching you next time. Everybody at home, have a good night.
Yeah. Good night, everybody. Enjoy it, and hope to